Section A, project applications review for proposal application process. Project application amendment procedure for the federal state program Green Book administered with the Florida Department of Education 2015. Alright, Section A, project applications overview for the proposal application approval process of the Florida Department of Education and the grants management service. The grant management responsible prior to the issuing request for the proposal with the request for applications. Department received the notification intention of the federal or state funding. Department lines available for funds with the applicable federal state requirement. State Board of Education strategic plan available at florida.org/strategic plan. Appropriate program office identifies specific activities, outcomes for entitlement, and the discretion funds initiate the develop pre-approval of the project plan, request for proposal, request for application. Pre-approval project plan and request for proposal, request for application are approved at all levels, including the commissioner of the commissioner and designee. Appropriate program office notified of the potential applicants available the provided funds for the issuing the request for proposal or request for application. The appropriate program office provides technical assistance training with the potential application in order to submit with substantially approve of the proposal application. When required for the grant management will assist by providing technical assistance with address official and technical requirements expectations. District agency responsible on the receipt of the request for proposal, request for application. Read and review request for proposal or request for application. Determine the district agency is eligible applicant. Complete a risk analysis form of the Department of Education 610 for the school district, state, college, state, university, state agencies, or Department of Education 620 for governmental, non-governmental agencies, except for state agencies. Appropriate effective July 1st, 2015, as appropriate. The Department of Education 610 or 620 form will be required approval that must gain prior to a project award being issued. See Section H forms. Note, this is a new requirement for all recipients of state and federal project funding. Contracting the appropriate Department of Education program office with any question, clarifications needed to the request of the technical assistance. Note, with the competitive proposal, request for a proposal will provide guidance on the proper method. Seeking clarification may require that the question be submitted in writing. Complete all required application forms, secure all required supporting documents and letters, and provide all additional information requested in the project description narrative. Ensure all the required pages requested and requested information are included with the application packet. Ensure that the appropriate person signed for the application or the document assurances that is required of the applicant is signed by a person other than the district superintendent agency head with the signed letter of the district superintendent agency heading authorizing the person to sign for him or her must accompany with the application. Send the appropriate signed and accurately completed application with all required documents to the address of the specified request for proposal, request for application that includes required number of copies mailed in sufficient time to be received on or before the due date was established by the request for proposal, request for application. If the suggestion of the application or proposal be sent via a method that will provide documentation on the delivery and before the due date. School districts and state colleges, state universities, state agencies must be complete the Department of Education Form 610 risk analysis and address specified on the form. The form must be submitted with the approved prior to the project award being issued. All government and non-governmental entities except for the state agencies included are not limited to the community-based organization, faith-based organization, independent college council, and county and city governments must complete Form Department of Education 620 on an annual state fiscal year basis. Only one applicant on this form per state fiscal year is required and may be submitted to the address specified on the form attached for the application. Department of Education Form 100. When submitted, this form must be submitted and approved prior to the project award being issued. Non-governmental entities applying for the project grant must be registered within the Florida Department of Education, the Division of Corporation SunBiz, in order to do business in Florida at www.sunbiz.org. All applications applying federally funded project grant must have the data universal numbered and a uniquely identifier that will be suggested with the System Award Management System. Be registered with the System Award Management System, the U.S. Federal Government Primary Registration Database. The DUNS number on the Department of Education Form 100A or 100 and or 100B must match the registered name of the applicant applying for funding. To register for the DUNS number or to verify that the DUNS number agrees with the name of the applications, go to sam.gov. Employer identification is known as Federal Employee Identification Number, FEIN. FEIN is required even if the organization doesn't have it, even if the organization does not have an employees. Employee identification number is a unique number to identify the organization for the Internal Revenue Code. Following these, consider the employee identification number according to the IRS. Taxpayer identification number, social security number, and an individual tax identification number. If approved for funding, the applicant must complete the electronic Florida substitute form W-9 with the Florida Department of Financial Services, or DFS, at https // Florida FL vendor at .myflorida CFO.com. All project recipients are encouraged to register with the Florida Department of Financial Services to receive payment through direct deposit. If they need assistance over the half of the questions concerned with the direct deposit, please contact the Department of Financial Services at 850-413-5517 or email direct deposit at myfloridacfo.com. Link to the direct deposit authorization form at www.myfloridacfo.com, division AA/forms/DFS-A1-26.pdf. Federal Funding Accountability Transparency Act, or the FFATA, requires each federal award of $25,000 or more of the office that the office management budget. Create a searchable, no-cost, public accessibility website, usspending.gov. This includes basic information about the recipient of the project being funded. The Act was amended in 2008, Public Law 110-252, requiring the recipient to report certain information about themselves and their first tier recipients. Department responsibility after receiving the proposal and proposals/applications. Grant management will date stamp each proposal application on the date it is received. This date may be either the determined effective date of the project resulting from the approval of the proposal application. Grant management will complete intake of each proposal application will determine if it meets the minimum condition of the acceptance. If the application do not meet the conditions for the acceptance, will be notified by the grants management. Additional information is located under the minimum content for approval A10. All Department of Education 610 and 620 forms will be dated and stamped upon grant receipt, and grants management entered in the grants management tracking system forwarded to the Office of the Audit Resolution Monitoring for processing. And complete review of the audit resolution monitoring staff will make the written recommendation to fund the applicant with fund the applicant as the high risk, or no fund the applicant, or not fund the applicant. Recommendation will be sent with the Bureau Chief of the Contracts Grant Procurement Management Services for review and final determination. Bureau Chief will notify the Grants Management and Office of the Audit Resolution and Monitoring of decision. Any applicant not recommended for funding will be notified by the written of this decision. Copies of the decision will be sent to the grants management with the comptroller and the appropriate program office. Florida Department of Education Forms 610 and 620 may be submitted directly to the department, included with the proposal application package. Both methods of the submission will follow the same process outlined above forms. Department of Education Form 610, once submitted and approved, will remain in effect unless required with a change of the federal or state law, other significant change of the circumstance affecting the financial administration capabilities of the agency requested by the department. A change in the agency's head or agency's head financial management requires an amendment to the form. The Department of Education Form 620 is required to submit to each state fiscal year prior to project award being issued. Amendment is required in significant change in circumstances if in the management and operation agency occurs during the state fiscal year after the form has been submitted. Grants management will be forwarded each proposal application from the appropriate program office, and the review of the determined program compliance accuracy, or in the case of the competitive programs, initiate procedures to determine the proposal applications recommended for funding. After completing the review of the program office will enter each proposal application that is recommended approval of the grant to grants management. In this case, the competitive program is proprietary fund listing containing application. All applicants and the scores of the ranking will be forwarded with the commissioner office for their approval. Project award notification will include any special conditions determined necessary during the review process. For each proposal application recommended by the program office, in this case for the competitive programs approved by the Commissioner's Office for the Grants Management, will sign with the project number to verify that the risk analysis completed has been approved. Generated project award notification complete with a technical budget review. Verify that any of the special conditions determined necessary are included. Certify with the accuracy of the documents before forwarding the packet for authorizing signature. For any application not recommended for funding, the programs will notify the unsuccessful applicant with the grants management. The application notification will include with a reference complaint with the procedure outlined in Section E of the grants management. Will then update with the grants management system. On behalf of the Commissioner with the Department of Education Program Bureau Chief, will review and sign project with the board notification for a successful application and return of the documents to grant management. Only the Commissioner may obligate the Department by approving the proposal application, and the Commissioner may assign the responsibility of the designee or designees by specifying the management level that can approve the proposal application on behalf of the Commissioner. Grants Management will complete a final review of all documents, make copies of the signed project award notification, mail the original project award notification with a copy of the approved project application. The recipient agency will distribute the remaining copies as appropriate. Grants Management will forward a copy of the signed project award notification with the original proposal application, including all approved changes for the Department of Education Bureau of the Comptroller. Bureau of Comptroller will be the official custodian for all project award files and records. Bureau of Comptroller will distribute the funds in accordance with the project award notification. Will track obligation expenditures through the required reporting mechanism. The Department will reserve the right to waive the minor irregularities. Section 8 categories. Funding programs administered by the Department and performance-based of them fall into one of the following categories. Entitlement refers to the federal state program which each applicant meeting the specific funding requirements for receipt of the funding according to the specified formula procedure for the known discretion modified for the purpose of totally calculated money. Include all programs to which specific state application is made with a specific purpose to be awarded to one or more selective districts, state colleges, university, group of the districts, or other eligible agencies. Non-competitive discretionary, it refers to programs submitted for the application that meet specific requirements to receive funding and programs designed for specific agencies to which allocations have been earmarked for specific purposes. The application process in the same manner as entitlement project applications. Competitive discretionary refers to federal or state programs that the Department funds based on the application best satisfied with the criteria established by the Department. Cooperative agreement refers to federal state programs that require the Department to maintain substantial involvement with the recipient in order to carry out the objectives of the program process for developing and authorizing pre-approval of the project plans. This is a summary of the Department of Education project application, the review and approval process, estimated federal allocation or state appropriation. Annually, the Department receives a notification of federal and state funding that estimates and project identify the authorized amounts of funding available to the eligible agencies. Aligning available funding for the requirements of State Board of Education strategic plan, identifying specific activities and service. Upon receipt of the notification, available the grant forms for the fund and or state operation for the Department assigned leadership program management identify specific activities services to be funded. These activities services are designed to be aligned with the applicable state and federal requirements within the State Board of Education strategic plan with determination as appropriate. It also made whether the grant is and are to be distributed based on the formula and whether the grant is to be considered a discretionary or entitlement. Formulas are used for the allocation funds must be replicated by any other than the assigned program manager. It is also determined whether or not discretionary grant will be competitive. Developing pre-approval of the project plan. After the determination of specific activity services to be funded and allocation methodology, the Department assigned program manager begins constructing a pre-approval project plan. That a pre-approval project plan, you, the Department, describe the funding objectives, projected allocations, application review criteria, and the timeline for award projects. The plan will include request for proposal or request for application. Approval for the pre-approval project plan. Department assigned with the project assign the program bureau with the chief that initiates the approval process for the pre-approval project plan. Determines funding plan appropriate with approval of the request for proposal, request for application during the review and approval of the grants managed for the tracking application. The number or TAPS number is assigned upon approval of the bureau chief. The grant manager will secure resolution of any questions policy issues all level of to the commissioner and the commissioner designee pre-approval of the project plans. include technology, component, product, and service impact services provided with or by the Northwestern Regional Data Center. Also routed through the Department of Technology Office for the approval. Once approved, the respective chancellor or the deputy of the commissioner and the commissioner of the pre-approval project plan is returned by the grants management program manager of the authorizing use of request for proposal, request for application, and the funding plan. Process of awarding projects to sub-recipients, distribute application project. Each of the Department of Education program bureaus will completely distribute and approve the request for proposal, request for application, notified by the district other eligible agency with the purpose and scope of the program, availability of the funds, timeline, submission, applications. The instructions include the request for proposal, request for application shall inform the potential application for the type of the project to be funded, amounts available, the method of the allocation, view criteria for the approval, the audit requirements, constraint with the use of funds, performance, accountability, reporting requirements, support for the Department of Reading and Mathematics initiatives, as well as any other procedure for the requirements of the restrictions required by the successful application. Each request for proposal, request for application must include instruction describing the procedure for the submission of the disbursement report for the return for the non-disbursed funds by project and recipient if the program evaluation and or report are required for the project recipient. The instructions will include specific for such as requirements. Section 112.06114 Florida statutes applicability to the county office of the district school board, special districts, metropolitan organizations, establish statutory authority allowing specified entity to establish travel reimbursement rates other than those established by the Section 112.061 6A, 6B, and 7D of the Florida State Statute. Each of these entities must comply with in accordance with the statute, include with the project application, the copy of the applicable document, ordinance, resolution, policy, rule that have the detailed description of the project budget form. Applications requesting funding must include with their application certification page signed by the agencies have the general assurance terms and conditions for participation in federal and state programs. School districts, state colleges, state university, government entities must have the signed certification bearing the original signature of the current superintendent for the school district of the current agency head of the president or the current agency head of president for other agencies on file with the Department Bureau of the Comptroller. For all government, non-governmental entities except the state agency of the agency head or of the agency's head of the financial management as named for the current official year of the Department of Education 620 form is required to complete with the Department online grants file management training within 60 days for the date of the approval of the Department of Education 200 form, successfully complete the assessment test. If the agency received funding from more than one Department of Education 200, the first notice of the funding starts at 60 days from the date of approval. Non-participation in the training program assessment test on any of the annual official year based by established due date may result in the termination of the payments until training and assessment test is complete with a recommended that all agency employees that manage directly and indirectly grant project funding complete the online Department of Education grants official management training. Provide application support assistance following the distribution application project package if the Department of Staff will provide support with a potential application. The support may include bidder conference with the state, with the regional meeting, the memorandum, the on-site meeting, the technical assistance via the telephone. The program technical support will help the applicants complete with their submit application that meets the requirements of the approval of the project with the plan. With the competitive program support may be limited to ensure that all applicants receive the same information. No applicant has an unfair advantage. Submit application content. Number of copies. The application shall be submitted to the grant management. The number of copies specified with the request for proposal, request for application signatures, and application certification. The official who is authorized to legally bind with the agency, superintendent, president, chairperson of the board, or authorized representative must provide original signature on the Department of Education and 100A, 610, or 620 of the certification program for the general assurance of the term and condition for the participation in the federal and state programs and any other required forms applicable to budget narrative form. Department of Education 101 and 101S must be included. Specified with the request for proposal, the request for application, multi-district joint agency application shall require the certification by each of the participation entity following the same requirements stated above for the authorized signature application and forms signed by officials other than the official who, if the authorized legally binding agency, must have the letter of authorization signed on the behalf of the official attached to the project application form. Any other applicable form when it is submitted project narrative information. Application submitted to the federal state project application must meet all of the requirements specified by the request for proposal. Request for application that typically includes a narrative that includes measurable objectives to describe the outcomes of the project, extent of the training with the expected result of the implementation over the project and the products. Narrative should also include the timeline of completion of any major activity expected that the program narrative will specify the performance outcome of the deliverables included projects such as training, manuals, and reports, as well as should the applicant may require to provide additional detail of the program narrative prior to the award funding. Multi-year application. The program narrative shall be written to describe the total program to be provided during the entire length of the project period, with the budget information shall describe proposed budget expenditure for the specified budget period, usually 1 year. Entitlement project application and narrative description should include the problematic information required for the review and approval of the programs permitted for the public agency applicant for the estimated roll forward funds in the project application. The project narrative shall describe the total program that will be provided during the project building period using new allocation funds with an estimated roll forward funds. Non-competitive, competitive, and competitive discretionary project application narrative. The description should include the problematic information required for the review and approval. The extent of the information required for the request for proposal of the request application shall be demonstrated with the potential scope of the funding of the project award, the degree of completion, and anticipated project budget information. The applicant submitted with the federal state funding must include with the detailed budgetary information sufficient to the detail of the proposed expenditures of and the compliance with the state and federal program requirements that correspond with the narrative description provided in the application. Such information shall be submitted by the applicant in standard budget form and specified by the request for proposal. Request for application supplemental budget forms may also be required to meet with the specific program requirement. The line items amount but should be rounded to the nearest dollar for multi-year application. Budget information described for the proposed budget disbursement and initial budget period, normally with the first 12 months of the project period. Project recipients are responsible to determine the budget revisions comply with the applicable statute, regulations, rule of the program requirements to use the official control funding and accounting procedure for the ensure the proper disbursement accounting with the state and federal funds and accurate with a timely manner. With the all budgets must be reasonably necessary, allowable, legal to promote the objectives of the program. Project narrative and project performance accounting reporting consists of the requirements section 215.97.1, 287.058.1D and E. Florida statute. The department project managers will travel to each of the project performance based on the information provided with the stated criteria for the successful performance verified with the recipient required for the deliverable service prior to the payment. Risk analysis. Upon receipt of the risk analysis of the Department of Education Form 610 and 620 are as appropriate, the Department of Education staff will review and determine the agency is eligible to receive the grant project fund. With the receipt of the funds will especially condition high risk or is not eligible to receive funding. The Department of Education staff will consult with applicant if needed with the review prior to the applicant receive the fund under the high risk statutes will have special conditions and state with the project award notification. Department of Education 200 application that are not eligible to receive the grant project funding will be notified by the Bureau of Chief and Contract Grants and the procurement approval. The eligibility to receive the grant project funding is required prior to the project award being issued. Receipt of application. Upon receipt of the application package in the grants management date stamps or over the application assigned by the TAPS number, the relevant information entered for the Department of Grant Management Tracking System to track the approval of the award process with exemption of competitive application requests for approval. The applications are sent with the department designated for the program for the review and approval process. A review application. Used upon assignment of the application package to review the technical accuracy, compliance with the program budget requirement by grants management. The program staff before the application is submitted for approval. Competitive applications are reviewed, ranked, and recommended for the funding using prioritized funding listed based on the criteria of the approved funding plan. Recommended for approval upon receipt of the application package. The Department of Education Program Bureau Chief will complete a review for the consistency, approved funding plan, the sign of the project award notification, and the return of the package of grants management. Not recommended for approval. The application that do not meet the request for approval. The request for application requirements will not be recommended for approval for applicants are not approved for funding after the program review and non-approval letter is prepared and sent to the applicant by assigned program office. Applicants that are not recommended for the funding have the opportunity to respond and outline in Section E of the complaint procedure. Distribute and award notification upon receipt of the application. Private assigned project award notification. Grant management staff will verify that the formal authorization to disperse the funds that have received with the Department of the Risk Analysis form, the Department of Education 610 or 620 is appropriate, have been approved following the verification. Original project award notification and a copy of the approved project application will be sent to the applicant, and a copy of the project notification original project approved project application will be sent to the Bureau of the Comptroller. Copies of the project award notification project approved project application will be sent to the program office. Staff of the Bureau of the Comptroller will appropriate the information for the CAS Advance Reporting Distribution System or CARDS. Project effective with the date of the federal program funds will not be obligated with no earlier than the date of the project plan application for the determined the department to be the substantial approval form to defined below with the effective date of the federal grant award, whichever is later with the state grants. State program funds shall be obligated no earlier than the effective date of the legislative operation, usually July 1st. Multi-year application consistent with the statute, rules, and federal regulation. The department may determine the multi-year application should be submitted for the prior project period will cover 2 or more budget period, but the new budget will be required annually, and multi-year application. The initial project application shall meet the requirements of Section A project application. Project approved with the multi-year funding will receive the continuation funding only if the project guarantor has demonstrated successful implementation consistent with approved with the performance of the exemption, adhere to all official programmatic requirements. Funding for the purpose of the remains available for multi-year application. Continuation of the consecutive years will require the submission of the application amendment prior to the end of the current year budget period as the state of the project award from the Department of Education. Minimum control for the approval of the substantial approval form. The applicant shall become the eligible approval of the project award with the department heads filed with the project application determine the substantially available approval of the form. Substantial approval of the form is defined to mean with the project application has received the department containing the following the project application form. Department of Education 100A, bearing original signature of the official who is authorized to legally bind with the agency, superintendent of the school district, of the president, of the chairperson of the board of other agencies. Budget narrative form of the Department of Education 101 and 101 or 101S, and any required supplemental form. Signed certification bearing with original signature official of the authorized legally binding agency signifying compliance with the general assurance terms or conditions for participation in federal and state program for school district, state college, of state university. Signed certification bearing the original signature for the currently superintendent for the school district, president of the state college and university official who is authorized to legally bind with the district or college and university must file on the department Bureau of the Comptroller. The project coding. All projects approved with the department carrying a unique number identifying code referred to as a project number that's signed with the grants management consistent with the procedure described here, and upon receipt of the project application for the identification, all of the corresponding for the department project recipient should contain the project number. The project number should consist of 13 characters. First 3 characters identify the agency. For the agency that identified the 3 characters can be alphabetic, numerical. Each of the 67 counties of Florida is denoted as a geographical location. First and second digits assigned with the county's alphabetical sequence, beginning with Alachua County 01, ending with Washington County 67. With the exemption of Miami-Dade, 13 other agencies may be assigned with the Bureau of the Comptroller with the 3rd character of the Department of Education internal use. Example 370, Leon County School Board. Example 37A, Florida Music Educator Association. The numerical list of agencies, the number C of the agency, and listing numerical. Alphabetical list of agencies and number C. Alphabetical listing alphabetical. The next 5 characters are you identify the funding source. Department of Education grant. Identify the funding source of the Department of Education grant. Identify 5 character field will indicate the source of which the funds are derived of the federal funding. Project's number consists of 3 components. The first 3 digits and denote that the program from the funds are derived, and the 4th digit denotes the state fiscal year from which the Department of Education grant is effective, and the last character is for the Department of Education internal use. Example, for official year 2014-2015 funding would be a 5 before the 4th digit. Fiscal year for the 2015-2016 fund would be 6 before the 4th digit. But then these are the identifiers account while the project is maintained. Note that identification of the device does not apply with the non-federal funds and if the projects are considered to be effective only when the current fiscal year. For the last 5 characters, you would identify the sub-elements referred to with the project code. The project code is 5 characters. The first character to know the last number of the state fiscal year in which the project is issued for 2014-2015. The first character is 5. For the fiscal year of 2015 through 16, it's 6. Second character denotes the type of the payment. For example, C with the federal cash advance. Q is advance payment. P is reimbursement with performance. S is quarterly advance with public entity. D is other specified with a term and condition. Third character is a program identified that can be alphabetical, numerical, assigned with the discretion of the program office. And the last 2 characters are assigned with the grants management is indicated with the sequential order of the agency's application for the specific funding sources received. For example, 01-02625A5CB01, project number Alcona County District School Board, Individual Disability Education Act Funds, fiscal year 2014-15. First 3 characters, 010, identified with the agency. First, next 5 characters and source are the source of funds. The idea discretionary for the 2014-15 year. The last 5 characters identify the sub-elements of the project code. First digit identifies the fiscal year. The second identifies the type of the payment, federal cash advance. 3 digit assigned to the program office, the grant management. 4th and 5th indicate the sequential order which the agency applicant for this or funding source was C01. First submission, Alcona County School District for idea discretionary funds would be 010-2625A5CB01. Second submission, same agency, same fund source would be 010-2625A5CB02. Project begins. The requirement related to the official program accountability for subrecipients is found in Section C of the official program and accountability. Section B, project amendments.